Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745, and I am playing Hearts of Iron IV's Black Ice. And what this series is really meant to do is to look at the economy that they've changed, radically changed. And so, yeah. And I've made complaints before. And we can look here, we got a bunch of factories on radio equipment, and radio. The levels of radioization. Oh, I'm doing good, Lucas. I'm doing good. In an armed forces in World War II is very critical. And so that's a potential failure point, in production. And then, okay, we've got a lot of factories cranking out aircraft, almost 3.5 a day for fighters. That's what I'm referring to here. Okay, a lot of factories producing rifles, or infantry equipment too. And then we have this garrison maintenance crap. And I do think it's crap. I've got, I think, the third most here on garrison maintenance. Now, maybe you can get to a criticism of what I'm doing here. Now, we have a huge amount here for heavy artillery. We have more heavy artillery being factory floor space. Not more than medium and light combined here, but almost. Then we have horse transport. Am I really supposed to be struggling using this much flat fact as a percentage? Now we have even more here for just a bit more for trucks. But was there really this much factory space being made for horse carts, horses, and whatnot? See, that's the thing. We have Germans used huge amounts of motorcycles. I'll be here. And I got two factories making motorcycles. And I got 7,800 extra motorcycles. Now we can also click here and see, okay, yeah, some of the motorcycle equipment that's captured probably, but mostly they're the Germans. So this isn't like, oh hey, I've just captured all of France's motorcycles and dumped them into my reserves. Where is basically the case for heavy tanks. We got the 5 sort of historical Neufahrzeug and then some captured French B1s. So that's sort of historical. So this can't be right. I'm not going that this is right. Well, thank you, half potato. So yeah, And as I said before, this is a war game, so you have the word game in it, which is meant to be fun. But you also have if there isn't something that was a point of failure in production, again, as I've said and I've gone and described in detail, sometimes there's points of failure at the front. Okay, all the horses die, so the carts get abandoned, so the divisions lose horse carts. Okay, and that very well may be for the divisions at the front. But if this is a point of failure, or is this a point of significant difference that China had very little motorization. Japan had not too much more motorization, but so very little motorization, so their divisions move, they don't have motorized divisions. And you look at that and go, oh, okay, yeah, here's a point of difference. Chinese divisions and even infantry divisions, because as we can see possibly in the case of the, a U.S. infantry division or whatever, I'm just going to pick out generic infantry division here. And I think this might actually even be sort of light in numbers. They've got 10 transport trucks and 20, Kuba wagon type vehicles. So, I don't know what I'm not saying this is wrong, but I would that's awfully light for a division. Now, for an American infantry division, they wouldn't have any horse transport. And I shudder to look about over at the U.S. infantry division because, again, the U.S. and British, and I say British, not Commonwealth, British, there were 0 horse transports by 1941. I mean, the U.S. was just shaking off the last of its sort of cavalry-mounted stuff back at home. And we could talk about the 10th Mountain Division using some sort of mules or whatnot as special transports, for rugged terrain, not, generic transport facilities. So whether that would equate to 350 trucks, because again, not all trucks are equal and not necessarily equal to one of these wagons, and how much you could, load onto a truck, drive 20 or 30 miles, unload on a truck, and then drive back and get another loading, in a day, shifting stuff back and forth, versus how much you can do that with a wagon, obviously are a great difference. So I don't, again, and I haven't gone in and looked at either historically or in the game here what the U.S. infantry division would do. So yeah, and that could be a serious point of difference where an actual fully motorized U.S. infantry division would have even more trucks. And one of the divisions was sort of known as the Circus, one of the American divisions. After D-Day, the division commander gave orders and assignments and whatnot, and had a large collection of captured German motorized equipment, most notably things like the armored half-track and a few tanks that they, put big, huge white stars on them to keep the friends from shooting at them, but also, just scrounging up trucks and whatnot so that I don't need to keep him here. Let's move him down here just to guard the coast while we're going east. So, okay, Dutov Devlich. The IC cost should be like, so you only need about 1/3 the factory space, maybe even. Yes, exactly. I am not entirely against the idea of having horse transport as something you produce. And yes, we have a lot of it, and I probably should reduce down now. But I'm also looking at, okay, and I only have, okay, so, well, let's look at, and again, some of this here, okay, we have general mobilization, We probably should go to expanded draft already. So that's, some of the stuff very well might be like manpower being so low. Um, well, let's just go with foreign because I don't necessarily want to take up. Women encouraged. This scene. Okay, so here recruitable population factor plus 1%, recruitable population factor plus 8%. So we get 7% better. The sort of weekly stability, political factors, production efficiency cap. Yeah, women in the labor force. You have to look at two very, very real aspects. And they're both real. Not just some construct that's artificial. No, two very real factors. One, of course, is biological. Women's upper body strength just does not match a man's. It's just a basic fact. Oh, woman bodybuilder. Okay, yeah. What's your percentage of population of women out there that are bodybuilders? Right. So we're looking at this, and in Britain, I know there was the Women's Land Army, as it was called. The main thing that they did was be help out on the farms. I don't know all of the functions that the Women's Land Army did during the period, and often functions grew, but their largest contribution of labor was farm labor. Often, not always, but often city girls, and it served multiple functions. Obviously, it got more farm labor going on because the men were out fighting, but it also served the function of getting people out of the cities, which were bombing targets. So there are multiple functions there, but they also were responsible, and I think became the primary. I think I don't have all the facts here. Sorry, people, but the primary labor force in the forestry service, which that means cutting down trees for Britain. And you need lots and lots of wood in a war, whether for your rifle stocks or for your carts, but also for crates to put ammunition in. So when you make a, whether it's an artillery round, an anti-tank, or tank gun round, or a anti-tank gun round, or an anti-aircraft gun round, they're generally either going in a wooden box or sometimes a wicker, which is basically branches from trees. And so, and weave together a wicker basket and to be shipped around. So and that wood, obviously, in both of those cases, can be sort of junk wood. So they're out cutting down and collecting trees, and they're going out and surveying what trees to cut down, what marking those up, and then have teams coming in cutting down. And so it would take, and I don't know the exact ratio, but it would take more women to cut down and haul out. And they would often, yes, have animals, horses, maybe some oxen, but animals to drag the large trees out of the forest to some collection point, and then either put on some sort of wagon towed by horses or trucks. And we're looking at Britain's case. So, they're not going to be able to lift as much. So I definitely can see, or there's definitely a physical difference there. There's also a sociological difference and setting that you have to take into account. People, when confronted with a very different circumstance than they are used to, shall we say, can mentally collapse. Okay. And so, let's say, take me, for example. I'm a Californian. I live by the ocean. I live in Southern California. I rarely see snow. I was recently, around Christmas time, in around some snow, and it was a little bit of snow, and it was sort of a curiosity for me in walking around and dealing with it. But if I got into real snow, like in, Alaska or someplace like that, and then I had to do stuff in that snow, walk, go find firewood. I don't mean necessarily could be pure survival, but I mean just sort of do some sort of labor, like, go collect the firewood, go do this, go feed the cattle, go do whatever. And this is the first time I'm really sort of encountering snow. I could have and I don't mean, just like sort of give up, because I just, I'm not used to this, get cold and get, just that kind of thing, and just not function well. I may not necessarily die, it just have significant problems. So taking a woman and putting her onto some factory floor with a lot of machinery going on, and especially machinery back then was fairly noisy. Britain, probably you would be surprised at how many was still being used in the 1940s. Machinery from the 19th century that was still being used, in which, whether they were still having a steam plant outside that's burning coal that's running a steam engine, or simply hooking it up to an electrical engine to run it, but still use the old belt system, in which a belt would be from one of these engines going up to something like on the ceiling that would spin it around, sort of, if you think of like a car fan belt or something, but big and wide, and that would run a big metal axle, or whatever you want to say it, along the ceiling, which then you would attach a bunch of other belts to. I'm probably a bunch of you already understand what I'm talking about, but if you're not, run a bunch of other belts to that would then come down to a machine. And a lot of this stuff was like weaving machines that were still, weaving cloth for uniforms and whatnot. Come down and, give power to this machine. And all of that's very deadly. You get caught in it. It's, serious injury to possibly death. And noisy and hectic. And yeah, and there's, in the weaving industry in the 19th century, there were a lot of women and children working in it. But there were also a lot of women and children working in that too. And if you take somebody who's never been around something like that and you put them into that environment, it's going to be shocking. Okay, if you've never really encountered that, and I've never worked. I've never worked on a factory floor in my entire life. I've taken a few factory tours. But, if you've never really sort of worked, and not all factories are going to be noisy like that, but you bring them into a new environment. It's going to take a while for them to, whoever, women, men, doesn't matter, to get used to it. And a person's self-expectation on being able to handle this stuff, I definitely think women, particularly back then, would have that expectation that this is going to be a particular difficulty. Now, we also know, hey, Zizi, um, that particularly as part of the Manhattan Project, the atomic bomb, there were rather large machines, and they still exist, and they're still just sort of sitting in an old building where they were used out, in the countryside. Um, Large machines that, because this was in a pre um, computer world. Yeah, I know that there were a few, code breaking computers and things, but things weren't controlled by mechanical um, outputs. Yeah, from a computer, and so there needed a human operator to sit there and monitor keep the needles from going too far to the left or the right at the machines that were um, oh, doing some of the separation for the plutonium or uranium or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But they found women were very good at sitting there for a fairly long period of time, intently monitoring this machine and making the adjustments. Much better than men. And some of this work, so this is sort of a concentrated, but not, it needed physical precision of handling the dials on this machine, but wasn't physically taxing in a hard sort of sense. Maybe in a concentrate, keep concentrating and you get stiff muscles or whatever from doing it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it's not using muscle power to power something, to lift something, to move something. It wasn't a hard lift to engage a thing. Women can be, on some of these tasks, found to, on average, be better than men. This isn't, slamming that women can't do whatever. This is, but it's when it's something new. So I can see some of this here. Stability, okay, so you're disrupting society, getting women out of their comfort zones. Political power gain, I don't know why you would necessarily take that hit. Production prevention, yeah. Consumer goods and factories, yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, we're going to do this because we want the increased recruitable population, and this is definitely what's going on. 41. Yeah, by now they're just starting really to get into this for Germany. By 44, basically, sometime in 1944, all young women in Germany and Britain. So this isn't just totalitarian versus freedom. This is in Britain and in Germany. We're basically being drafted. Understand this. All young women, basically. Now, there were outs. Children might be an out of a particularly young age, particularly in Germany, but also Britain. Young age of children. And so we're talking about young women. They're only going to have young children. You're not going to find a 20-year-old with a 10-year-old child. I mean, it's just biologically basically impossible. Don't at me at some weird case in there, but you know what I mean. So, they're going to have young. So those are. Now, it's not necessarily like in Germany and Britain that they're all going to be drafted in the army. No, they don't want them in the army. They want some. They want them in like I said, the Women's Land Army, or working in a war-related factory. Whether it's dangerous kind of job filling, the explosives into the shells or something like that, or whether it's just making uniforms and boots and whatnot. They want them working. And so in both countries, so they're definitely being pushed to do something like that. But yeah, I think we, so this 81,000. Okay, let's just interventionalism, normal financial basic bond, trans factory output. Yeah, we'll do basic bonds. We've just done that one. Okay, age bracket 18 to 35. 18 to 40. Yeah, we'll do this. And now here again, I don't disagree. Because I very much contend that a significant element of the food shortages that the German Reich was being faced with was because of male labor being taken off of farms. I do not have good. I know for Britain, and this varies from country to country, but prior to the start of the war, a lot of the farms had become one of two things: meat farms, in which they're farming cattle. Farming and ranching are two different things, two different ways of doing it. But they're farming cattle, or they're doing sort of high-end things like vegetables. Because of the way the British Empire is set up, there were very real tariffs and trade blocks to bringing in cheap, non-British grains into Britain. But Canada is part of the empire, so they don't face that. So a lot of things that are easy to grow other places can be grown cheaper and shipped and got into Britain cheaper than it is to grow them into Britain, so that they were importing a lot of their grains. Now, they also still grew a lot of their grains, but the majority was being imported from somewhere in the British Empire. I really have to wonder, was someplace like Romania really importing a lot of their grains? I doubt it. But you do see, countries like France. There are, I think, hundreds of thousands of French prisoners of war that are languishing in prisoner of war camps. Young men. Some of them would be out on the farms. Okay? Poland. Their whole farming economy is completely disrupted. Completely disrupted. And so their farming output plummets in the former Polish territories, whether it's in the general government or in the more direct German-occupied, you're being integrated into Germany. Because this sort of line here, this is basically the general government, and that is sort of a special territory. The rest is, some of it, I don't know exactly the border, but some of it had been part of the German Empire, some of it had been maybe part of the Russian Empire, but is all to one degree or another being reintegrated as an internal part of the Reich and not just some sort of occupation. But even there, they are disrupting, including throwing Polish farmers off their land without a replacement farmer, or their replacement is somebody who isn't a farmer, has been given a farm. There is a program to try to get Germans to come and settle on former Polish territory that utterly fails. There is another program that particularly from Estonia and Latvia, the Germans, as in tens of thousands, maybe getting to 100,000+, are brought out, and a lot of them are settled in former Polish farms. And there definitely was a sort of middle-class German farming establishment up there. But the very large part of the Germans were mostly sort of urbanite and more technical type peoples that were not natural farmers. And so they may be able to farm, but they don't farm nearly as efficiently, don't produce as much food. So Germany is suffering from a huge food shortage. And so yes, the more you pull men off the farm and get more recruitable population, I do see stability. I do see some of the other stuff going a bit wrong. So we will do that. So 18 to 40, expanded draft, foreign volunteers, average taxes. I don't know if that would overly help us. Protectionist economy, yes. High tariffs, okay, we have that. High investment, just looking through police state, that seems about right. State press, that's basically what's going on. Extensive training, seems good. High standards, yeah, it's training. Yeah, I think we will keep that. General mobilization we'd already done. Foreign investors regulated, that's basically key industries nationalized. I think is where we're going to keep that. And here, partial mobilization here. Weekly stability, which will push us down. I do think we should go to the war economy generally, but I'm just looking at civilian factories, all the other factory construction speeds going up, factory output. Do we have something here that recruitable population? I don't see. Okay, doesn't help recruitable, it doesn't seem. Not that it should. But okay, now see air tank and engine capacity per plant is improved. So yes, we're going to do this. Now it will take us a bunch of days to switch over, which seems about right. And this is things. And let me look at the chat. See here. Yeah, vehicles use a lot of wood, trucks, ships, planes. Absolutely, there's a lot of wood in there. Like Hoffmaner says, San Diegans with their rain as well. Yes, Hoffmaner, yes. San Diego has some of the best weather on the planet. It is right in that, 72 degrees, very little rain, but not really, it's humid enough that it isn't so dry. But yeah, San Diego's a really nice place. Already said hi. Okay. Hello, Von Hidson. How you doing? My great-grandmother worked on a man industrial line in Nuremberg. Really interesting there. That's cool. And hey, Wayne Rumble, how you doing? So yes. So yeah, we're going to see this. Okay, well, we have a lot of submarines. I know Arno asked, and we should probably be setting some of these up as a little bit smaller than 28, I think, to a group. These are all type 7s. Let's go with about 10. I think that's good. And we will form a new unit there. And let's have them convoy raid down here. Let's form a new unit here. Again, approximately 10. Like that. I want them their own fleets, doing their own things. Yeah, let's put them out. Convoy raiding out here. And these guys we will also put there. And we'll put them out here into the mid-Atlantic gap. Oh, these have coastal submarines? What the hell? Oh, hell. Oh, hell. I didn't think, okay. Yeah. Well, never mind. We're gonna keep these guys in port because they're mostly coastal submarines. We'll wait till we get enough other and combine them out and send them out there. Yes, we will look at the naval battles. Arno wants to see some of the former naval battles. Okay, we took out a convoy up there. Took out 5 convoys there. 2 convoys there. Convoy there. Down here, convoy. Another convoy. Out there, we got rid of a... Who is this Iraq? Yeah, some sort of convoy there. And in the Mediterranean, any more out in the Atlantic? No. In the Mediterranean, we're helping with some air power. I'm going 3 convoys there. 3 convoys and an aircraft there. We lost 4 planes there. Got 15 convoys there. Again, we are helping with 41 bombers, and the Italians lost a ship there. And there was also one action in which 1 destroyer and 1 heavy cruiser the British lost, and we lost 4 bombers. But yeah, okay. So we are doing this. At the time, my great-great-grandfather was part of the Hitler Youth. He operated Panzer models at the end of the war. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, so everybody is definitely tied up in what's going on in the war. Okay, so I do want to quickly again look down here. So we have the 4th Panzer Division. So we don't want to withdraw the 4th Panzer Division. Well, what we're going to do here is what's our supply like? Well, what are our numbers of reserve or not yet used heavier planes? 16 naval bombers, 19 heavy fighters, light bombers, 19 medium bombers, 0. So we're getting shot up pretty bad. Okay. Well, first, let's see what we can create here. Junkers transports 28. These are the cargo type. Let's do this. 25. There we go. So they're going to come down. They're going to deploy down there. Down to there. We're going to move those for supply. Get those going for supply. Here's a 10th, some weird emblem. I think you asked that before here. No, that's the 7th. I don't know. Here, that's a buffalo. That's the division emblem. Yeah. So yeah, what? Okay, so the 4th, if we refit the 4th, we'll pull that out of Rommel's North Africa Command, and we don't want to do that. Okay, this is the 1st Lish Division. I think that's another Rommel unit here. Yes, so we don't want to upgrade that, because then again that will pull them out. The 5th Division. We're going to form the 12th. Hopefully that won't cause Rommel to lose any of his forces. Right. Well. Well, let's just select them. Get them all up here, and they're going by rail. Now we have a fair amount of time. Obviously, we're still in 41, and we're not going up there till 42. But we might as well start sort of getting forces somewhat ready. Okay. Darian. We're going to send him up to here. Get some of these SS units. Yeah, let's see. Why not try an airborne landing on Mala? I think you mean Malta. But, how would I do that? I don't have any airborne units. Oh, died 6 months ago. Oh, sorry to hear that. Make them then. Nowhere near. And so this is the thing here, and again, we're looking at the economy. Okay, we have a lot of cavalry equipment, but we need more cavalry equipment than you might expect once we stop making it. But we are going to go down to a single factory of cavalry equipment. Let's look at our radios. And this is something that very well may be, I mean, we're still not catching up on, well, vaguely catching up, but not really caught up yet on that. Okay, 20,000 radios. Okay, I think we're good with radios. Not good maybe for the whole game, but I'm not sure. Let's go down to 4 factories there. Handheld anti-tank. Let's... Now, part of what we've been doing has been making things that haven't been requiring rubber. So we may go back and switch some stuff back, but not just yet. Okay. Well, we have extra heavy guns. Some mortars. Now, trucks will be used for supplying troops in forward areas. Well, we're gonna get more aluminum, I think, once we let the clock even move. Because I know I've been blathering, but we have not even yet had the clock move forward. Okay, well, let's do that. Yes. Want to do that. How are we doing? You know, we have to just get rid of that. I don't blame Black Ice for that little bug. It's just the way it is, I think. Okay, so now we are positive on everything except for aluminium. Aluminum in American English. Synthetic rubber. Okay, well, we can, and we have lots of bauxite, so let's do that. So that gets all of our construction material equipment needs. We sunk a British destroyer in a convoy unit there. Right. Okay. Let's attack here now. If we can take Alexandria, we'll get a fort and a supply depot very far forward. Supplies here. We are putting supplies into there. It's helping us. These guys are out here. Operating trade mission. The Philippines? Yeah, that's all. Okay, Sherplunk has been finished researching. Okay, so we've got a 42 tactical ability there. Doing mobile armor. This will help our manpower. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, we can now build more things. Let's look at our radar. Let's put a radar there. Well, let's put a radar here. Well, there we go. That will help us out. And then, well, I think just we're getting a bunch of engine factories because we did have a point of failure there. And we're going way down on our food. So, and increasing manpower, good. We're doing that well. Let's do some more industrial farms. And industrial farm. Food production in that state is plus 11. So I'm not exactly sure how big of a boost that is. Hey, William von Hidson, how you doing? Okay, well, our horses are already exhausting themselves, partially from lack of supply, I think. We just had a crash. I think it's that. Oh boy, that bug problem if we zoom in too much on British forces in North Africa. And I did not save any of that goddamn work. Yeah, the screen's coming back. God damn it. This has not been my day. First the audio problems, now this is back. Oh. Yep, no progress. All of the work that I just did, I have to redo now. Mhm. Okay. What I'm going to do here is, and it seems to be with combat, so I'm going to try to crash this system again here. But those watching later on YouTube, I'm going to end this episode here. Come back next time for actually hopefully more exciting stuff. So thank you all. See you next time.